All right, welcome everybody to another edition of Rum Ramblings. We are short a team member tonight, but we have a couple special guests with us tonight. We have Randall Hebert and Scott Straitman, who are, did I say that right?
Stratman? That's
Stratman,
close enough.
Straitman.
Stratman.
Right one day. And so we're going to do a little interview in here, and we have Scott and Randall on here tonight together because they are the last two of our dads that have made it to every convention. And so we are going to do a little interview with them. We're going to do a little catching up. Hopefully, I've got the echo killed on the feed, and away we go tonight. So a little way of catch up. We are still working on some of our fundraising and our plans for fundraising and how we're going to do that. But one of the things we want everybody to do is make sure you share our fundraising link out over the holidays, because people kind of get in a joyous spirit and a good mood and want to do something nice. And that would be great if we could get more people to donate in before we get started on all that. Come January, when we get down there, we're going to do some various activities. Terry has a list of things that we may or may not do to raise money. If you contribute enough funds, we will be doing various shenanigans. You may see anything from us having a table full of Dole Whips and denying Carl one, to
Yay!
to having a plate full of Mickey bars and not letting Joe have one. Or we may have to put them head to head and see who can eat more Mickey bars or more Dole Whips. And we will continue to do things like that. We may do a little contest to do some face painting and make Terry get his face painted up and run around the parks for the day, or the bald spot on the top of his head.
There's space for rent.
Yeah, space for rent. We may do some personal shopping for people. There's lots of things we have out there. Carl's still working towards the idea of our auction and trying to gather up stuff, but we'll see what happens with that and how we come up with more items and what items we have. Hopefully, I'm not blowing your eardrums here. I just realized my meter was pegging out on my other screen. So, Terry, have we got anything else we need to update on besides we're still in the process of getting our activities together? We're still going to work on our fundraising stuff. We're still going to work on getting our photo scavenger hunt.
Yeah,
and a few of our meet and greet times.
we're gonna because Joe's away next week with the cruise bastards, and I'm
What the hell is
away
Randall doing?
next week as well there. So we'll be doing our first rumcast in early December. Will probably be about the fundraising, and we'll try to focus on that. And we're going to try to hammer out the last details of some of the stuff. In the meantime, I think Carl would like to mention out there that if you have any items that you would like to donate to be part of the auction, or if you've got any ideas, contact Carl. Contact him on Facebook or wherever. Drive by his house. He'd love that. And tell him what items you've got there. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Carl's all excited about that, so we're kind of letting Carl run with the auction piece of it. Terry and Joe and I are going, and Jeff are going to coordinate the various hijinks for fundraising. And we will be broadcasting that live, either from the house or from wherever we go. Joe and I both have a couple of new toys that we're going to play with while we're out and about. We're going to see how that goes. We also, Jeff and I are still working on the ideas for the photo scavenger hunt, and the prizes for those have been purchased and being put aside. Thank you, John Peters, for doing our pickup and storing of stuff. Cheers to John. Appreciate it, buddy. And as far as house goods and stuff. I think a couple people said they couldn't register on the on the DDC Rock site. Let me know if you're having trouble with that. It may be because you already registered and didn't get things done. But I need everybody that thinks they want a T-shirt to make sure they register with your shirt size and all that, because I have to finalize that order by the Friday after, a week from this Friday. I'm probably going to order a few extra, but I'm not going to order a bunch of extras because I'm not going to tie up several $100s in T-shirts. Just not going to do that right here for Christmas. So if you want a shirt, let me know. Like I said, I'll try to have a few extras, but we're not going to have an abundance of them. Anything else we got to cover, Terry, before we get in?
No, I think that's probably it.
All right. So without further ado, we have Randall and Scott, and I'm going to turn it over to Terry to start our interview process.
Hey guys. Well, let's start with Randall here.
Hey.
How's your mic there, Randall?
Am I live?
There you go.
There you go.
There I go.
All right, Randall, can you tell us your name and where you live and where you're from?
My name is Randall Hebert. The I is silent. So Randall Hebert. I live in Eldersburg, Maryland, about a half hour outside of Baltimore, and I'm originally from California. Far
Really?
away.
You're from California?
How
did I miss that?
I was born and raised in California. I was born in Fresno, which is the raisin capital of the world, and I was raised in San Jose, which is Silicon Valley. So, and then to continue on with that, I moved to Manteca, where I opened up a comic book store, and then stayed in the business and transferred within the company to. I joined Diamond Distributors, and I transferred to Illinois, Sparta, Illinois, home of Heat of the Night. And then from there, I was transferred here to Baltimore, and here we are. So,
Yeah, and you're still in the comic industry?
not at all.
No, I didn't think so.
Got out that a while ago. It was it was a good thing. Comics were going in a different direction. Companies were buying up each other, and on and so forth. And it was just not a comfortable place to be. So I moved on.
And you, while we're on that subject, because of what's happened in the news lately, you had the privilege of meeting, or I should say, Stan Lee had the privilege of meeting you a number of times, didn't he?
Number of times, yep. It would be I had the privilege of him actually recognizing me when we met, which was nice. It wasn't like we were friends or buddies or anything, but there was a guy by the name of Joe Fields that worked out of Stockton at one of the local television stations. He did advertising, and he's the guy that came up with the Fantastic Four. And everybody knew the Fantastic Four took off from Ithaca, New York, when they took off, but they never said where they landed. So Joe Fields started the campaign to have the Fantastic Four land in Stockton, California, which was right by my Manteca. So Joe would come into my store, and we got to be friends, and Joe and Stan Lee got to be friends. So through Joe, I got to know he's a good guy. So, tough year this year. Lost CJ and Stan Lee.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still with me, guys? Sorry.
Let's see. Moving on. How many kids do you have there, Randall, and grandchildren?
We lost
I'm
you
not
there,
hearing
Randall.
you.
There you go.
There we go. We were losing you there, Randall.
Yeah, I lost the last couple of seconds. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. We were just talking about your kids and grandkids.
Wow. Maybe you better move on to Scott.
Oh, you're coming through good there now, Randall.
Ah, there we go. Good, good.
Yeah. So you can tell us a bit about your family?
Yeah, I have a family. I had a mother and a father. And brothers and sisters. Jody and I have two daughters, Rachel and Allison, both adults, and they have husbands, both named John, one with an H, one without an H. And they both daughters have a son and a daughter. And my oldest daughter's husband, John, has a son and a daughter. We have step grandchildren now. So six step grandchildren, two daughters, two son-in-laws. All coming with us on the cruise with Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lucky.
Yeah.
And yes, Joe, Randall, or Jody has 3 kids there that she has to deal with, but 2 are grown up, and the one we know and love so well is still a kid.
Yeah. Yeah, I got older. I just didn't grow up.
Where's your love for Disney come from?
Well, long ago and in a state far, far away, it all started with a mouse. My love of Disney came from when I was a kid. Before I started school, my older brothers and sisters, when my older brother and sister would come home, it was time to go turn on the TV. Now, back in those days, in the 50s, there wasn't 24/7 TV. TV came on in the afternoon for some channels. And I would turn on the TV and put it on whatever channel, channel 4, and wait for the Indian head display to fade away, and the Mickey Mouse Club would start. So every afternoon, my brothers and sister would come home. I'd go watch Mickey Mouse Club, and that's where my love of Disney came. Mickey Mouse Club, Wonderful World of Disney, Disneyland, all that. So I went to Disneyland a couple of times, and we actually didn't start going to Disney World until 2007. And since then, we've been at least every year, if not multiple times in the year.
Yeah.
Kind of a fun place to go. And I like the fantasy of the whole fantasy adventure.
Yeah. It's definitely a place where you walk through the gates and you know you've entered a new world.
Well, that it's not just walking into a new world, but the old world drops away. You're totally immersed, and we've all talked about that. But it's just a wonderful feeling. And now that I'm at an advanced age, I'm older than dirt.
Well, you said you started school. I just assumed that was you invented school, but
that's right. Going to Disney now doesn't mean that I have to get on every ride and rush. It's fun to honestly, one of our best things to do is to sit by the lake in Epcot, wander through the world. People watch, eat a Mickey bar here and there. So, yeah, make a Dole Whip with DisDad giggle juice.
Nope. You mentioned going to Disneyland.
Yes.
Were you able to make it fairly regularly since you were living not that far away?
Well, we were about 8 hours away from Disneyland.
Okay.
So it was a bit, but I remember going once with my parents when I was probably about 8, 9 years old. And then we took the girls twice when we were out there.
Okay.
And it was fun. I mean, it's a great place. If you've been to Disneyland, it's tight and easy to get around, and you're more immersed, I feel, there and it's more of a neighborhood park. Not a destination park. It's more of a convenient park. You just, I'm in the area. Let's drop into Disneyland. So versus let's make a trip to Disney World, stay at Disney World. So yeah, Disney World. I like Disney. Actually, I'm gonna have to say I like Disneyland better than I like Magic Kingdom, but I like Magic Kingdom for the different things.
Yeah.
Pot roast mac and cheese.
You see, they got that back with tots. Mac and
With
cheese
tots.
Randall, before we move into the questions about the about which DDCs you've been to and what you're looking forward to, I think we'll move over to Scott, and then I'm just going to let the two of you after we interview Scott just talk about what keeps you guys coming back to the conventions and all that. So, Scott, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little about yourself, your name, where you live, where you're from.
All right. Well, my name is Scott Stradman. In my case, the T is silent, so it's Stradman. I am from Northern Ohio, as close as you can get to Lake Erie without going in. And I've pretty much lived here all my life. I haven't traveled around like Randall and moved from here to here and there to there. I've stuck right here except for 4 years in college. So.
Yeah. And what do you do?
What do? I work for a car dealership. Yay, car dealers! Woo! But
Which dealership? Do you want to plug the name or manufacturer at all?
It is a Ford dealership in Northern Ohio. Yes, Ford. But I'm the finance guy, right? So I take care of your title paperwork and your loan processing. So I've been there for 19 years. So quite a while.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And your children, we saw them off screen.
Yes.
Earlier.
I have two daughters in 6th and 4th grade, Addison, who is 11, and Claire, who is 9. And they are my spoiled Disney kids. They've been very fortunate to be able to get down to Disney at least once a year for pretty much every year they've been alive, which is very rare thing, I think, and we've just been very fortunate and blessed to be able to provide that for them. So,
yeah, that's awesome. It's a great way to grow up.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons how I got started with the love of Disney and catching the Disney bug, if you will, is to see it through their eyes. And but it's also, like Randall was saying, it's that escape from reality and happy place. But my first visit to Walt Disney World was back in 1990, and I was a teenager and just was absolutely in awe of everything at Epcot. And to this day, Epcot's my favorite park. But that's just the techie guy in me that really likes all that Future World stuff, back when Future World was actually future stuff,
Yeah.
So I was just talking with my kids earlier tonight about the cool things that I remember from that 1990s trip was being able to ride Horizons and Spaceship Earth, but not just riding those two, but also being able to go into the corporate lounges because my father happened to have an in with GE at the time.
Oh, cool.
And my uncle, who happened to go on that trip with us, was an AT&T employee. So we got to see both corporate lounges in that first trip, and got to do the back area access to ride the ride, not have to worry about waiting in line and all that type of thing. But I think Horizons made the most impact on me. Just that whole, choose your own ending type thing was the coolest for my 13-year-old brain. I thought that was so neat. And so that made an impact on me. So, but after 1990, I didn't get back to Disney, I don't think, until after I married my wife in 2005. So I had quite a bit of a drought. And but since 2005, been back every year since, I think, 2009. So
yeah, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And let's see. So, have you made it out to Disneyland or any of the other parks?
No, I haven't. I really, it's kind of on my bucket list. I definitely want to see Disneyland, but it's not something that I have on any kind of future horizon. But I'm sure I'll make it out there one of these years.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. And I forgot to ask both of you what your favorite rum drink is, or bourbon. So maybe you can both
Great.
start off with that, and then chat about the DDCs and past DDCs and what you're looking forward to at this one.
I like my bourbon straight and my rum mixed. When I drink rum, I think I'm partial to the back scratcher and the Lapu Lapu, but I also the dark and stormy at Trader Sam's is very good.
That is good. Yeah,
I like a Cuba Libre. I've been drinking them since I was 16. You know, if it's got rum and it's got Coca-Cola, sorry, Joe, and a twist of lime, I'm in heaven. It's got to be a Puerto Rican rum, not a Jamaican rum, not a dark rum. Not the molasses, really heavy molasses tasting stuff like Myers. Can't handle Myers, but
Nope.
I like Bacardi. Can't remember the local local distiller here, but we've got a distiller here in Maryland that makes really nice sipping. Good stuff. And rum's my go-to drink.
Yeah. Awesome.
So yeah.
Yeah. So you guys have been to every convention. So maybe you can talk a bit about that, and maybe, we've talked a bit in the past, or mentioned a bit in the past how it's kind of evolved and that, but you guys have got great firsthand knowledge to talk about that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the one of the things that had evolved from Scott, Jody, and I going out to breakfast on Sunday at Kona turned into everybody going to breakfast on Kona. To now nobody's going to breakfast on Kona. Well, that's quite a change, And we'd hook up
Big
with
kahuna.
CJ, be sitting there waiting for Adriana to run. And we come walking in, and there's CJ, and it would just be the four of us sitting there hanging out Sunday morning. But that's back when you could get during your marathon weekend.
Yeah, those were
I'll tell you,
early DDCs, and that breakfast at Kona was always something I look forward to on Sunday. Even though it meant it was leaving that day, it was always the best breakfast of the trip. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yep. So my favorite DDCC is number one. That's the first one we all went. Got to meet a lot of guys that were friends and got to be better friends with them. Fun experience. I mean, there was a party house at the DDCC one, and we had a live podcast from the party house. And my favorite memory is we were making these Gino pizza rolls. They're making them in the oven, and you really can't tell the difference between a cooked pizza roll and a frozen pizza roll.
Yeah.
And Aaron made the mistake popping one of those frozen one in his mouth, and the look on his face was like, holy cow. And another
I do remember that.
From that one is when a few of us, Scott was with us, we were walking around Epcot, and that's back when the UK had the telephones that were working, and we had the phone number. So we called the phones over there, and it was the hardest thing to keep a straight voice when the guys were all laughing their asses off, almost rolling on the floor as we're crank calling the UK number. So that was a good trip. 4 was a good one for me. That was the one I almost didn't make. So made it there. We had the party house. The big party house.
That was, oh my gosh, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was a great trip. Everything came together just perfect for that trip. That was one of the best trips, I think, outside of one for me. So
Yeah, we were talking off air about all these DDCs and how they tend to run together. And I tell you what, I'm listening to you, Randall, just trying to remember which one was which. I have memories from all of them. I couldn't tell you which one was which, but they're all good memories. I mean, they all had different variances to them. You know, DDC one, I know we were at Old Key West, and I think I was in a one bedroom with Chris and Carl, maybe. I don't remember. You know, it was coming up on 6 years ago or 7 years ago, right? So,
right.
But I know the second one, my nemesis Brian Blatt was down there with me, and somewhere in there, the third one, Terry, you and I and Aaron had a place over at Bay Lake the one time. I don't know if that was 3 or 4. Or four was the Old Key West Grand Villa, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so it must have been 3.
Yeah. It's almost like to figure out where you stayed to figure out which con it was. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, Aaron and I were very lucky that we got to room with you that one there, Scott. Other than the late night dinner, it was a fantastic.
Oh yeah! Wow, you guys had to have burgers, didn't you?
Right. Well, that was the first year for the bar crawl, right? So that was DDC 3 was the inauguration of the Friday night bar crawl, which happened to be the monorail crawl that year, right?
Right.
And we got back
Joe
and
for the drinks, Polly.
Yeah. We got back and we had a hankering for some kind of food, and I thought it was a great idea that we go up to the
oh God, yeah, that was
Tempo Cafe.
Those rotten burgers.
Aaron and Terry and I had bacon cheeseburgers around 12:30 a.m. That was ill-advised, I think.
Yeah.
They'd been sitting there for a while.
The next day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they might have been a little old, just a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was.
I had just the fries, so I was pretty lucky. But we greatly benefited from the 2 washrooms in the Bay Lake room.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, we kind of settled in through the cons at different restaurants that we went to. In the first one, we went to Whispering Canyons over at Wilderness Lodge. We had something like 45, 50 people with all the families there, and we filled up the corner of the whole corner of the restaurant. That was a great time in there. It was, family style food. Everybody just reaching, passing, and all that. So, and what I remember is Terry and Maria sat at the children's table. It's like, how'd you get the short straw?
Yeah, they needed somebody to look after the kids. So
yeah, and there were a lot of kids.
Yeah.
Terry, the babysitter.
You asked what has happened throughout these. One of the things I've actually noticed is it seems like the Brazilians that had been coming up at the beginning of the DisDad conventions aren't coming up as much now during January as they were back then. Because I know that Carl and Paul and I joined a Brazilian tour group one time. And that's when I was riding a scooter. And I've been on a scooter a couple of times at the DDCCs. So that's always made for an interesting trip around the park and getting around and whatnot. But, it always had been a good time. It didn't stop me from showing up. So, but yeah, here I am on my scooter, and Carl and Paul are standing next to me, and we're standing at the back of the Brazilian tour group listening to the tour guide going, yeah, this is really great. It's wonderful. Had Jody taking pictures of us so we could post it. So it was join a Brazilian tour group day.
Just follow the flag.
Yeah.
We're going to make you a flag this year, Randall.
Very good. Going to have a penguin on it? Should have a penguin on it. Yeah.
That'd be perfect.
Penguin, extendable pole.
Oh my gosh, the penguins. Oh, jeez Louise.
Oh, that was in one too. That was
Yeah, I remember that.
two.
You brought those back for 2.
I had I don't know how I got away with doing what I did with those penguins. It was amazing. So
I'll never forget Randall just coming up to a random cast member. Would you hold my penguins?
I did it with the belly dancer and
Yes.
Morocco. That was fun. And then I did it with some random guests too. I was having a conversation with Nate at the Dole Whip, and at the Dole Whip window, we're going back and forth about what kind of Dole Whip to get, and so on and so forth. And this young lady was standing next to us, just getting the biggest grin, listening to us talk. And I finally pulled out my penguins. Just said, "Would you like to hold my penguin so I can take a picture of you?" She goes, "Sure." Of course, that didn't happen over on the dark side. We went over to Universal Studios and took in the Harry Potter. That was back when only the one park. And so I went to one of the cast members, asked him if he would hold my penguin so I could take a picture. And he's like, "No, we're not allowed to do that. We're not allowed to do that." Wow. Big difference between here and Disney, huh? So what else did we do?
Oh, you remember Randall? You remember the time where was it Paul and Tim that did a posed picture with you in the UK, pretending to stomp on your sides? Yeah, that was it.
It was during Team Tim and Team Barry.
That's right.
They were racing. That was one, and then they caught up to me in 2, and kind of took it out because I took out Tim at one of trips that Jody and I had made down there, and Tim and his family were down there. So that's actually when I found out that Mel was pregnant with Christopher. I was the first one to find out that Mel was pregnant with Christopher. So I first did that. I'm pretty sure Mel and Tim knew before me. But anyway, so I did a picture of beating up Tim. So they retaliated at the DDCC to retaliate against me. And I'm an old man. I mean, geez, all these young guys kicking the crap out of me.
You can't keep a good man down, though. You got back up.
Oh, yeah.
With some assistance.
Yeah. And then there was Cards Against Humanity. You know, we're doing a lot of
Oh, my gosh. Cards Against Humanity. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, yeah. That was great. And I wasn't part of it, but the first DDCC, we did the podcast at the, I think it was the first. Where was the second one?
The second one, we tried to do it from the boardwalk. We had all kinds of trouble.
Yes. And isn't it what you had some kind of eucalyptus smell in your car? And Carl had to smell
Oregano oil. Carl got into my oregano oil.
There it is. That's what it was. Amazing. Still stunk the next day.
You got to be careful with that stuff too. I kept telling him to be careful with it because it'll actually burn your skin if you get it on sensitive skin.
Yeah.
That was the Stinky Finger episode.
Yes, it was. Stinky Fingers.
And that was one of the Cards Against Humanity too.
Yeah, Richard Fingers, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Richard Fingers, yeah.
Yes.
We had such a good time, and it was pretty, that was back in January's, when Januaries were warm in Florida.
Right. I think, wasn't that the year
it become
that
a
was
flood
90?
that night when we left Ohana? Yeah, it was 2. It became a flipping flood, like just a downpour. We got soaked just trying to get out of the car.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I remember that. Yeah, that's the one that you guys did the podcast at Boardwalk, yeah. Because we went back to the room after that.
Right.
It was just miserable out. But it was warm.
But if you go back and look at the times, those first 2 were later in January.
Right.
And the last few have been that first week in January instead of the second towards the third week.
Right.
So hopefully we will be getting that warmer weather this year. Because, last year it was flipping cold.
It was cold.
Even Terry wore pants one day.
Yeah.
And when the morning, well, the night of the ball game, we had the balcony open. We had to shut the balcony because I got a little loud, but we had the balcony open.
Little loud.
I might have got a little upset for 30 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we were there last year. We were there in November, and it was freezing cold. And Ron Wrinkle was there, Disney Commando, and his family. And they're like, we're gonna take off. We're gonna go do this. Ron, we're gonna do this, and this, and then we're gonna swing by the hotel room and get our jackets. It's like, okay. So off they run. We meet them again later at Magic Kingdom. They extended hours, and Jody and I are freezing. We've got lightweight jackets on. They show up in their heavy North America winter gear. I mean, the Pennsylvania and New Jersey heavy gear. And it's like, holy cow, you guys came equipped. So,
that morning that we went to Pandora, it was me and Scott and Tony and Paul.
Last
my
year.
goodness.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I thought we were going to die before we got in there. Like,
it was cold.
We went and got coffee, and our coffee got cold before we got in line.
Wow.
It was miserable. I was like, I'm not. We were glad to be standing in line inside the queue.
Yes.
Because at least there was no wind.
It's like penguins. You all take turns on the outside.
It was so cold that morning.
Penguins are cool.
So cold.
Yeah.
I
it can be such a. You're rolling the dice from. It seems like November through February, you're probably going to get good weather, but you could get temperatures approaching freezing too.
Yeah, we went to Disneyland Paris. It was July, and it was pouring rain on us the whole time we were there. It was like the whole week in Paris was rain. So it's July, and they're pretty much same latitude as we are, so it should be about the same, more or less. But anyway, I digress.
I will say this: I will be prepared for the gamut of weather, because that's why I drive, because I can load the car up and I can take everything I want.
Yeah.
I'll have everything from the parka to the shorts.
I would look forward to that. I'd like to drive. So,
well, we've bought downfield coats before down there, and if we're buying downfield coats, because it's cold.
Yeah.
When Terry puts on a coat, it's cold.
Yes.
I've seen Terry and Joe both wear shorts and around 40-ish degree weather. That makes me hurt.
Well, yeah, you've got a problem with cold. We've seen it. So.
Yeah, I can't do cold.
So I'm looking forward to this year that there's a whole lot more activities than we've ever had before. We've got the scavenger hunts and all that other stuff going on. We're getting timeline of photo shoots, so everybody knows when and where to be if they want to be in the picture. I'm pretty excited about that, and probably more than anything else, I'm excited to see Carl.
What?
I think he's taken a few too many meds, or maybe the rum's hit him really hard. I don't know. What did you say?
Well, if you don't see him, you can't bust his chops. So
he does a pretty good job of doing that all by himself.
So that's one of the things Randall brought up is we really try to throw a few things out there. Yes, if you look at our schedule, it is tight, and guys keep coming up with, I would like to do this, and I want to do this. As Joe says every week when we do this, it's your vacation. Do whatever the hell you want. Have fun and enjoy it. Schedule whatever you want. Terry and Joe and I will probably stick to whatever schedule we publish. We will be there to meet you guys and to interact and try to get the photos done and try to get stuff. Because we've got enough time on the front end and enough time on the back end of this trip that we're going to do what we want to do other than those 4 or 5 days that we're cramming stuff together.
Oh, you don't want to do that? You have 4 or 5 days. You don't want to do that stuff?
What do you confused me there, Randall.
Well, you were saying that at the front end and the back end, you're going to be able to do all the stuff you want to do in that 4 or 5 days. Then,
well, we can do the stuff we've got planned is stuff we want to do too. But
okay.
Our schedule will be more fluid at the pre-convention and post-convention, right?
Yeah.
But the three of us are gonna try to stick to the published timeline as best we can because we know there's going to be some guys that are only going to be able to, they'll be down with families or other friends, and they're only going to be able to meet up for 1 or 2 things maybe, and that's great. That's why we're going to try to stay to those timelines for the convention period.
Randall, that pre-convention and that post-convention period where we're all cursing at them on Facebook because we're not there and we're actually, back home.
And I have already found out that mine is going to start on Friday the 5th instead of Saturday the 6th.
And
my
the
rum
rubbing
is
in
empty,
begins.
but cheers to that.
Cheers.
I found out that we are supposed to have a post project critique on Friday morning, and it's in Atlanta, which puts me 2 hours closer. I see no point in coming back home. So
They'll see you at the airport then on Saturday.
And on Saturday, that means that Dale Express will be there to pick you up.
Cool.
If you play your cards right, you might get met with a rum drink.
This is why I love Adam.
You'll have to ride in the back, but because they have that whole stay without a reach of the driver kind of thing. But we'll figure something out.
A really long straw.
Yeah.
I see it. See, that has happened once before, and that didn't go over real well. One day, when we're not on camera and recording this for posterity, ask me about the really long straw in a long bed pickup truck and a trip to Panama City. Just ask. So I did talk my way out of it, but
Randall, you kind of mentioned though what you're most looking forward to with the convention is there's going to be a lot more activities and stuff than particularly when you compare it to say DDC 1 where there were just a couple of scheduled things. Scott, what about yourself?
Well, I'm just excited to see all of your lovely faces again.
Somebody else has been into the bourbon pretty heavy.
I need a hug from Jody. That's what I
need. There she is.
Hello.
Hi, Jody.
You got it.
And a hug from Randall too, because Randall gives good hugs, I have to say.
Yes.
But no, I just look forward to seeing everybody again. I mean, it is truly a quick escape from reality, and I'm fortunate enough that I can get there solo, and I have an understanding family that realizes that I have this insane addiction with Disney, that it's okay that I go down by myself, so that's a good thing. But no, just seeing the parks and experiencing everything together, and like Randall said, just having the activities and having the time set aside to have a schedule of some things that if you want to join up and do with everybody, that you can do that. That was we did have a few things set in the DDC 1, but since then it's kind of fallen back a little bit, where it was mostly just dinners and fast passes. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just really looking forward to seeing everybody again.
And Scott, you said that, and that's one of the reasons we did some of the stuff we're doing is we all love Disney and we all enjoy it, but we all get to go do the things we want to do as far as Disney goes. We're trying to expand this online friendship and these friendships to, a little deeper, a little more meaningful things, because, I mean, just like, what was it David Gale said last year? Oh, yeah, when I told my father-in-law I was going to go spend the week with a bunch of guys I met online, they were like, Are you sure you're going to be okay?
That probably sounded better in his head than it did when he said it.
Yeah. It probably did. And when you think about the fact that we have these relationships that we've built and cultivated over the years, from at one point in time on a bulletin board of nameless, faceless people that were almost anonymous to,
except for DisDad numbers like that.
yeah, you know,
That's a little.
to the point now that we are a social organization that genuinely cares about each other and have friendships that are deep and meaningful. I mean, I talk to you guys about stuff that I don't talk to people that I see every day. And, you guys know things that are going on in my world, in my life, and with my kids that some of my family doesn't know. That's where we're at. And this convention, we've taken this over this will be the 7th year. And unlike Scott and Randall, I haven't been able to make every one of them. I've made most of them, all but 2. Those friendships are getting deeper and the bonds are getting closer. And I really hope that these new guys that are coming are going to get to be a part of that and get to understand what it means to be part of this group and how tight we are and how we hurt together and how we laugh together and how we feel together. And, when one of us hurts, we all hurt. And when one of us is happy, we're all happy. It's not just idle words and idle chat. There's a bond here that's as deep as any group I've ever been a part of. And I thank you guys for allowing me to be a part of it and, welcoming me in years ago. And now we have a chance to bring some of these new guys that have never been part of this and show them why we love this group so much. So,
Amen.
I'll drink to that.
I would too. It is asking.
Well, that got deep.
It did, but you know what? It's true. Like,
what happened?
My first meet with the DisDad. My first meet with the DisDad was also with the DisMom, right? Before DDC 1, right before, I met Randall and Jody. They were very gracious and allowed me and my family to join them for a dinner at Be Our Guest. And that was the highlight of that entire trip for me. The bonds have grown from there. So it's been phenomenal. And that's also one of the reasons why we do these video casts is to get to know everybody a little bit more, but also to introduce the fortunate ones that have managed to be at every convention to people who are coming to their first, or maybe they're not even able to make this next one, but they'll come to a future one in down the road. So,
speaking of that, Terry, if you guys are enjoying these video casts and these chats and whatever, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. One, because that gives us some cred with YouTube, so we can keep doing some stuff. Because if I don't get enough subscribers, I can't keep doing live embedding stuff. And we need enough subscribers to do live embedding to do some things we're wanting to do come DDC. And number 2, if you like this stuff, let us know, because Joe and I are putting some effort into it. I mean, we're not taking sponsors. We're not doing anything like that. We're doing this simply for the fact because we geek out on this stuff, and I'm having a good time with it. And this is my weekly retreat into being able to hang out with folks and talk with people and not have to deal with the crap that I deal with on a day-to-day basis. And so if you like it and you enjoy it, let us know. If there's some topics you want us to take on, let us know. There is a a rumor that there might be a couple of intoxicated dads later Thanksgiving night that might fire this thing up. Maybe we'll see what happens. I may need a reprieve after some family time. So we'll work through that and we'll see what happens. But if you guys like it, let us know. We're going to try to do some more of this. I'm working on getting the equipment ready to maybe take this show on the road for DDC and do some more of this. So if there's any guys that are in for Thursday night, I see Jay says he's in. Let me know. We might have us a little powwow because I may need some company because I love my family.
We understand.
Wouldn't be a holiday if somebody don't get punched in the face.
My favorite type of family right here, old granddad.
Scott, I might or might not have a bottle of Pappy
Oh,
that I might or might not bring with me in January.
well, I'm hoping it's more of the might.
Yes, I'm debating on whether to bring it or not. I haven't cracked it yet. A vendor gave it to me, and I've sat on it for over a year and haven't opened it.
Wow. Pappy, 15, 20?
15. It's not. It's not the pricey, but hey, it's still good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Think of the money you save instead of shopping down in Orlando for liquor. You could bring it from home.
Well, you guys say that, but last year I made a pit stop on the way, which, by the way, I found a gem on the way, halfway in between here and there. There is a store that is the size of 2 CVS's put together, and it is glorious. And I spent way too much money in that store. But
so after last year, how much liquor did you guys take home?
Not a lot.
Huh?
No, not a lot. We had a lot of empty bottles.
Good.
But I do have a budget of some of the house funds that I will be taking care of a few things. So Terry and I got to sit and work out the budget for booze versus some food items and some household items, because we still got to pick up, because of the way the house is done, we don't get toilet paper and paper towels and all that kind of stuff, so we got to buy all that stuff to put it in the house. There's
go in the park, you bastards.
That's right.
Don't splurge for the double ply.
I have a sensitive tushy. We'll be buying the good stuff. Y'all seen what my diet consists of? Red meat and liquor.
Well, I think Scott and I are glad we're not staying at the party house. We're staying at the animal house.
Well,
it's going to be. I think the aim of the party house is to keep a consistent buzz. It's not a blackout. It's just a consistent level of buzz for the week.
In that happy zone, right? We're in that happy zone, not the grumpy zone.
No.
Don't need the dog zone. So.
Let's see. What was the date that I officially have to be back in the office? I officially have to be back in the office. I have to make it back to the office on Tuesday, the 22nd of January.
That's rough.
So, now, that doesn't mean I won't have to work during that period of time, but I physically am supposed to show up in the office on the 22nd.
That gives us some leeway.
I got a little leeway. And Terry, just so you know, I was wrong on the date. It's Friday the 4th of January that I am going to say sayonara.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a calendar now. I'm quite happy about that.
My flight gets in about 5 o'clock on Saturday.
5 o'clock on Saturday. I will.
Yeah.
I will be sitting at the airport at 5:05.
Are you two the first ones in? Not counting there.
Technically, Barry and his family are, but we don't count that because he's got things he has to do. So, I think technically, as far as the group goes, I may be the first one in if I make it down on Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
Again, we don't count Barry.
And Joe will be in sometime Friday or Saturday, and Carl will be coming in Saturday as well.
It depends on when Joe can leave. I think he's going to start driving Friday.
Yeah.
So
he'll test the engine again.
My plan is that at least me, Joe, Carl, and Terry, and anybody else that happens around. Well, of course, Doc lives there now. Bastard.
Right.
So he doesn't count. If you live there, you don't count anymore. You're just a lucky bastard.
Right.
So we're hopefully going to meet up at the Edison that night and do some strategizing and planning.
Yeah.
And so
Sunday morning, we're on scouting missions for the convention.
Saturday morning. I mean, not Saturday morning. Sunday morning. Sunday morning starts at 10 o'clock, and they're going to kick my ass out. We might find out exactly what time they say you got to go.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's a good test for the next week, though.
It is.
So if we stay and they need to kick us out, we'll see.
Where are you staying?
Carl's leaving Friday, but see when he gets in.
Corey just blurted out the word strategy. Okay. Hey, by the way, do y'all like that I blew up the chat window this time so it's a little bigger on the side?
Yeah.
I colored it. I made it white and colored and whatever. I was playing around. We're getting to the rambling part. I don't care. I don't have to go to the office tomorrow, so I'm happy. I don't have to drive. That's 2 hours of my life I get back.
Perfect. So, guys, before we completely ramble on anymore, is there anything else about the conventions or the trips that you'd like to mention? Or
okay, I got a question. Okay, you both have 6. The guys that have never been.
My number one thing for the DisDad convention, DisDad Club convention, is I have made my best friends at the DisDad Club convention.
Preach it, brother.
Ditto. I mean, honestly, it's
we were friends online, but we became best friends, and I will say brothers.
Virtual hugs.
DisDad Club convention.
Yes.
I thought I was his nemesis.
He does like those bumblebees, doesn't he?
Carl's just Carl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Carl.
I learned one thing that you really got to learn too when you go to DDCC is to know that you really got to hold on to those old fashions when you order them.
Speaking of old fashioned, by the way, I'm really grooving the beard and the bald cut, Scott.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm liking that. You got a little bit. There's a motivational speaker or whatever that I like, Larry Winget, and whatever. You kind of got that same look and vibe going on. Like you're not going to take any crap off of nobody. I would not want to come in and have to sit down and talk to you about finance. Like look at my credit and go get the hell out of my office.
Sign here, press hard.
But yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's I wondered if you guys would echo that, but that's kind of the feeling that I have is I've met some of my very best friends in the world. I don't get to see you every day, but some of you guys I talk to every stinking day. And Terry's like, yeah, I wish you could message me at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm on a different time zone, you bastard.
It's all good.
But yeah, there's it's really has enhanced my life and for the positive. And I appreciate it. And Randall and your better half have taught me off a cliff more than once, and I appreciate it. Sometimes I don't think you knew it, but I appreciate it. And this is what these things are about. And you guys, I hope you guys that are watching, we still got about 10 or 12 guys sitting out there watching, though you're not chatting much.
They're too busy wiping their eyes.
We're having a good time here. Like I said, I ain't got to get up in the morning. This is the first time in forever that I ain't got to get up and drive to the freaking office. For those you don't know, I have a 65-mile commute each way to the office. So any day I don't have to make that commute is a great day.
15 years of making that drive. 15 years I did. So I cut it in half to a 30 mile each way.
I got you beat. I've been doing it for 21 years, Randall.
I am older than you.
I know. I've been doing it longer.
That is a long time to be doing it.
That's why all this is getting greater and greater. I'm looking at, hey, if there's anybody out there in the tech sector that needs a security consultant that will let me work from home full time, please call me.
There you go.
I will discuss salary options with you and whatever else, but I need a full-time gig from home. I have this nice home office here.
Well, if you grew a beard,
I did do that once, and it got, I don't know, it got kind of icky, and it went with Fat Adam, and I shaved the beard off.